Good evening, good evening, good evening. Give me a second here. Give me a second here. Second. Okay, so I had to come on and say something because I had a couple things on my chest that I had to say. Oh, my relaxing music is here. I want to talk about a little bit of what is happening here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And just kind of hopefully like I can keep it short, but I want to get into some stuff. So the verse tonight, just a verse, not a full chapter, that I want to read is Proverbs chapter 25, verses 28. Proverbs chapter 25, verses 28. And it reads, He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. So essentially it's saying someone without self-control is like a city that has no protection, something with no walls. I'm gonna read the New King James Version in a second because I'm reading from a very old English. The New King James Version of, when you read it in a different, 25, 28, when you read it in a different, in newer English, it's different. It says, whoever has no rule over his own spirit is like a city broken down without walls. Okay, so essentially, this just means self-control. Self-control is much like a wall against temptation. It does not make the temptation go away itself, yet it helps a person resist until the temptation passes or is chased off. The devil often assaults us at our weakest points, which vary amongst believers. So, this is what I want to talk about tonight. So the nights where I sit and I put everything together, they read a little bit differently, but tonight I just want to talk, just want to have a talk. So I have gotten very used to, with myself, for years and years, being able to look at surface issues and then having to deal with the underlying issues, not necessarily because I want to, but because I realize that if I don't, I'm going to be stuck. Nobody likes to be stuck. So I don't like to persist in the same problem forever, or just even for a long period of time. So what I find myself having to do is when something really upsets me, I have to ask myself, what is it about this thing that upsets me so much? And despite how justifiable it usually is something a little bit deeper. So, and it could be anything. And I think this is true of essentially all of us, of everybody. Where, so tonight I had a frustrating experience. I have been having the same battle for months. Now, This is not something that is easy to process, so I have to continue processing it. And I think it's the same for a lot of us. Once you enter what I could, the gang stalking is just a term, like it's so broad. To me, it's so broad. But once you enter the death loop, they're trying to spiritually assassinate you, essentially. They're trying to take your life. They're trying to take everything from you. They're trying to spiritually imprison you. They're trying to put you down. They're trying to get you under control, whatever it is. The death loop. Once you get into the death loop, you are going to continually have to process a lot of things. And you're going to have to, and you're going to have to deal with this situation before you actually know what the situation is. And it makes it very tricky. And you're dealing with very seasoned parties here who have done this over and over and over, and who have a lot of devices, ways of which to break a person down. And when they come to a point where they cannot do anything else, they will just frustrate you. They will just seek to frustrate you. So, I had a period tonight where now you have to continue to shut doors. I've talked about that all the time, and I've talked about a lot. Patience and discipline being a huge part of self-mastery, of mastering yourself. These things are not easy. I've always talked about the fact that discipline is easier for me than patience. Not patience, not as in to wait. Patience when I don't agree. There's behaviors here that I abhor, I do not like. So you find yourself in a situation where they can't stop you from doing the thing that they want to. They can't make you afraid. This was the point, to put you in fear. Because you weren't going to be afraid, they needed to intimidate you. That didn't work. Intimidate you with power and with a show of power. So whether that would be the police would try to arrest you, whether that would be try to put you out of business, whether that would be try to throw you out of your job, render you homeless, make you think you're going to be bankrupt one day. They try to put you in this position. It doesn't work. You climb over that energy. You do better. You're not afraid of anything. Then they're going to move into another arena. They're going to try to just do things to you and beat you down and frustrate you. And when that doesn't work, they just fight you every day. Like they just wake up every day to fight you. When you climb over that mountain, these are not easy mountains to climb. On the internet, people give advice all the time. Do this, transmute the energy and all that. Okay, it's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do. So, by virtue of having to master your own self, remaster yourself, people who get here and who get as far as we get, I say we, anybody watching this who has held on this long, do not end up in this position because you didn't already master yourself. You already mastered yourself. I look at this and I was like, I was already a patient person. I was already disciplined. I was already hardworking. I was already everything that I needed to be. That's why I made it here, I guess. Because this is not for everyone. People are going to think when you talk about this, there's some people who are going to say, you're arrogant. That is not what you feel at all. That's not what you feel. So, there's two things. If you speak this way, part of it is your strength. It's an expression of strength. The other part of it, of speaking this way, when people will accuse you of, not that it matters, and it really shouldn't, because part of this journey teaches you that people use words for a specific purpose. They respect you, they admire you, they look up to you, they want to be like you. They envy you, they see you as one to beat. They know that in a lot of ways you are the best. And I don't mean I don't mean that to put anybody down. I'm saying this kind of fight that people put on me, they couldn't last in that. They know after a hard day's work of trying to beat you down, they're like, what the heck is this person made out of? Like, we need to slice them open and see, like, what is inside of it. What is this? Because they know what they're doing. This is seasoned work. This is not new stuff. It's not people just making it up. And whatever they don't know, there are other people in other countries, in other places that have their own style that they're consulting with. Like, what did you guys do here? And how do you guys do this? And they know you're the best that's ever been here, that they've ever faced. They know that they fear you. You're draining them of motivation, of hope, of hope. They're draining their hope. You're making them hopeless because they know no matter what, you're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to get it done. Tomorrow you're going to wake up again. And it is not easy mentally fighting an enemy that has determined that it is going to rise above every challenge that you throw its way. That's why we are guided to fight this as self-mastery and not fighting it as a fight to win. We are encouraged to look at this situation as I'm building myself up. I'm making myself stronger, and not as I'm just fighting to fight or I'm trying to fight to win. That way will drain you. The other way makes you stronger. You are meant to grow in this thing, but the growth hurts. Not it hurts. It hurts. It's not because of what people are doing. Like, it's not just because people are fighting you every day. You can deal with that. And to be fair, well, let me speak for myself. It's not because people are fighting me every day. I could handle that. It's the self-mastery that's the issue. So, on the surface, I'm going to speak for everybody here. On the surface, you're mad and you want it to stop because you're comfortable with the level of self-mastery you've gotten to. You've gotten so far. Where you've gotten to has not been bad at all because people still looked at you back then and admired your drive, your focus, your discipline, all of that. But this thing here, this is challenging you in ways we don't have words for. Before one is done, they have another one. Before one battle is over, before one curriculum, one chapter is done, there's another wave opening up. I said maybe if I checked my messages on the community center, I maybe said like 5 o'clock, because they were quiet. They're not roaming up and down, they're not bothering. I said, I think my words were, whenever they get quiet, there's a new lesson going to be learned. My stomach dropped when I said that because I'm like, they're planning, is basically what I'm saying. They're planning something else. They're going to have something else planned again, immediately. Or they had it pre-planned, but you just remembered something. And now you're like, oh my God, now you're in another drama. And I'm praying to God, and I'm like, listen, you gotta get me out of here. Like, come on, you gotta get me out of here. I can't. This is why. On the surface, you'll say, well, because someone's fighting you every day, because you're being drained, because you're tired of the fight and all that. But that's not really it. I wake up like energized and like motivated to attack the day, and I've come so far, and I'm sure it's not that. What it really is the remastering of myself. That is work. That requires patience. That requires me to like hold myself back when I want to snap. So this is going to be a very honest conversation, because if we don't have honest conversations, we don't grow. If we always blame outside forces and we always blame, yes, there is blame, because people should not be fighting people like this. But we can also start focusing on ourselves as well and see like where can we make some adjustments. So we're gonna have a very honest conversation about self-mastery. The situation here is where you have been studied. They always study before they launch forward. Usually. They're usually studying you before they launch forward. So they have been talking to you, listening to your prayers, listening to your thoughts for a while before they approached you to play God in your life. They have been listening for a while, quietly, and they've coupled it up with myself. They've been lucky enough to couple it up with things I've said in my videos, and they document. They always write things down. They always document things so that they can remember. So by the time they get here, they're trying to increase their chances of overriding my intuition. So when these voices went overt, the longer it works, the more confident they are, and then they swing into the mode of like, I'm gonna take the wheel and really like drive what you do and like all this kind of stuff. So, but they've been listening in for a while and they've been testing their luck. So we get all the way over here, and I mean, I don't know. I really don't like the person who did this at all. Like for me, she's the worst one, because what she did, it's the trying to come between the connection of God. That makes it worse for me than all of the other stuff, than the gang stalking and the hacking and all of the other stuff. Playing God and playing God is one thing. Blocking the connection to God, oh my goodness. You have to think about how dangerous this is, because somebody could have driven you to do anything because of how you love and respect God. You wouldn't tell God no. You would follow God's direction and think, well, maybe God's saying this for a reason. As a parent, if I'm with my kids and I've taught my kids to be good people their entire life, and then one day we're in a jam and I say, listen, we're in a jam, you're going to have to steal a piece of bread off of the table, they're going to be like, well, this is not what we're supposed to do. But they're more likely to do it because they're going to say, well, you know best, and I trust your judgment. And this is dangerous in a situation like this. Had this persisted any longer, we would have lost everything guaranteed. That is why this was very, very, very dangerous. And blocking the voice of God, it's like of all the relationships that you guys have tried to block, this one, this sacred relationship, this is a problem to me. And even after this person has been discovered, this lunatic still tries to talk to me. This is where self-control comes in. And this is where it becomes difficult. Now, she knows that I know. I'm saying it now, I've said it before. They know they've been discovered, but they're desperate. It's their final hope. It was the closest they ever got. And they enjoyed that control. And they thought finally it was like a glimmer of hope. So when that happened, it was like, it wasn't a good time. And for me, that one, it's like, if God wasn't here, boy, I'll admit it. If God wasn't here, I would be the witch in her life. I would. I wouldn't stop. I wouldn't leave that lady's house. I would live in that lady's house, energetically, everywhere she goes. That's the truth. We have to be able to admit our lower nature, because I realize I've restrained so much. Restrained these parts. You restrain these parts. You hide it. You bury it. These parts of you, these things you don't want to acknowledge. You tuck them away, and you are like, I don't acknowledge it. I don't want to lie to it. And I've lived so much in the right-hand path my entire life. When people have done things, I've just tried to get over it and brush it off and like just move forward and ignore it to continue to remain in a high vibration and continue to have a good day. Meantime, people are passing their place and going so far. And this situation has forced me to address things. So I'm able now to look at it and say, this is what I would have done if it weren't for God. This is what God does for you. It is easier, or easy in general, to be an amazing person when life is flowing. It does not mean that life is perfect or you don't have challenges, but you don't have a dedicated challenge like this. So it is easier for you to never see these sides of yourself. If you're to walk the middle path, you must acknowledge both sides. You must acknowledge what you're capable of doing. You must acknowledge both sides. Not too much left, not too much right. Balance in the middle. Knowing how I feel about this lady, I call her a lady, but she's a witch. Knowing how I feel about this witch. I've seen her in person before. She looked me dead in the eye and said hello after she was found out. That's brave. So these are the areas where the devil attacks you. I see the devil as like it's a Christian thing to say, but it's like as an all-encompassing term. These are the areas where you get attacked because these are the areas where you're vulnerable. If somebody attacks you directly to your face, you can handle that because they know you're strong. But they come in various ways. If you procrastinate and wait until the last minute to get things done, they attack you there. And on the surface, you'll say, well, how could they do this and how could they do that? But below the surface, we gotta acknowledge, like, why did I wait till last minute to do this? I should have had this done from before. If this is important and I don't want to experience this, I better get my eggs in a row. So nobody has the opportunity to do this. So I block it like I block the other ports of entry. That's being accountable. And that makes it easier to master yourself because they cannot attack you on that front. You gotta look at yourself and say, maybe I'm a little disorganized. We all have all of these things in various degrees. So you gotta look at yourself and say, maybe I'm disorganized. Maybe I don't know where I put papers. Maybe I don't even know the last time I paid this bill. Maybe I don't even know what's going on. I gotta take care of that. So it's gonna be a problem for me. If I'm here in life and I'm not focusing on this, what happens when it's a $30,000 issue, a $50,000? I'm gonna bleed money. Just gotta look at myself and say, hello, maybe we should put a system in place. The reason why you get this disorganized is you think in your head, there was a word that was in my head, if I destructure everything, where things are disorganized, it's going to be harder for them to find. Not necessarily. They're keeping notes. They're keeping your life organized in their thing. They know how many accounts you have. They know the passwords. They know the this. They know the that. You not going in there changes nothing. We gotta get organized too. We have to look at our weak points. I'm a person, if I don't mind writing it down, like what are my weaknesses, being honest. Where are the places, because they got it written down, where are the places that I am weak? And that's where I gotta start doing the work. Because otherwise, this is gonna feel stressful every day. And that's the truth. I guess that's what they call hooks. Where are you weak? What can they attach and attack to? So they have been attaching all these attacks to places where you're not strong. What is the point of coming at you and fighting you directly when they know you're gonna stand? They're gonna do things to you that are really going to get under your skin. And sometimes we gotta release control. That's not very easy, depending on who you are. They study your birth chart. So you can read someone's birth chart and look at it and say, oh, well, it says this person does this and this person does that. Some things in my birth chart are wrong, flat out. I'm not gonna lie. I read them like, I don't know who you're talking about. But, you know, you gotta even read your own birth chart. Look at where you're weak and say to yourself, I gotta strengthen these points out, and immediately I gotta take care of this stuff. Sometimes I gotta release control. When I've done everything that I can, I put all the protection in, I've smoked up the house, I've done all the protection work I can, and they're still coming in here. Like a train station. Just in and out, crossing the protection like they don't care, protection like they don't care. And it's like, it just gets to a point where you're just like, okay, well, then I gotta release that as a point of contention, because I'm not gonna stop doing what I need to do because there's witches in and out of here. I can't rearrange the schedule. The schedule, it will be pushed through as it needs to be pushed through, because I got things to do. But that's what they want to do. They want to create these distractions. So when they can't do anything, you're gonna get the mailman who's not supposed to have your phone number calling you at like 11 o'clock at night. You're like, who gave you my number? You're gonna get somebody sending you a letter in the mail of some nonsense. You're gonna get some nonsense phone call pretending to be the government. You're gonna get this. It's like never ending. You gotta get to the point where it doesn't elicit a reaction, or at least it dampens the reaction. So for the hardest things for me, it's incremental. I mean, it's gonna be like that for everyone. It's incremental. In the beginning, when you're getting over the hump, you're thinking to yourself, okay, the major part of this is I don't want to fight no more. Well, I'll be honest, I do want to fight. God told me not to fight no more. Of course, I'm going to be pissed off at this. I'm not happy with this for a long time. So God's like, listen, don't fight. And I just know now I gotta trust God, because I don't know why God says things, and every time I find out, I trust, and I find out, I'm like, oh, this is why. So I trust, I have faith, and then I see the problem that I miss on stepping into. And you're gonna get to the point where, let's say you don't fight, but you're still pissed. You're pissed and you're holding yourself long enough to like relax, and you're taking yourself down. And then incrementally it gets better. You have more and more days where you don't have that issue happen anymore. It doesn't mean every single day is perfect in that day, but it means you're going more and more hours of the day without that battle, without that battle affecting. The battle is still there. The battle is still being fought. Let me tell you. It's not that the battle is not being fought, it's just that you're handling it differently. So maybe it's your focus, maybe you just release control, maybe you just don't care. You definitely in this fight have to not care about a lot of things. You gotta release a lot of things. You gotta really look at it. It's exactly where it's a reframing of saying pick your battles. You really have to look at, look, if I'm working on this, do I really care about that? Like, I mean, it would be nice to have that, but do I really need it? No. Okay, gotta let it go. You have to assess what the damage is going to be by just not addressing certain things. I'm not even talking about fighting with people. I'm talking about, it could be something as far as like something that's important to do, pay a bill. Something that's not important to do is, I don't even know. I don't know. Something that's just not important to do. There are things you have to deprioritize just because it's just not going to matter in the long run. You gotta just let go of it, let it be. It is what it is. You fix it later. Now, for me who likes to be organized, clean, like I'm a person, traditionally, I don't even want to sleep on a bed that hasn't been made previously. Like I like everything a certain way. However, if I hope to survive here, I gotta let that go. There is no way that I'm going to continue to be able to. Give me a second. The Lord of the Flies is here, and it smells like feces. Give me a minute. as I was saying, so see how I could just get up in the middle of a live, informally disturb the live, come back, do whatever, because I have to let go of perfection. Gotta let go of this being a clean fight. It's a messy fight. Our messages are messy. The way it has to be fought is messy. The way it has to be fought is messy. I've seen that real time. When spirit has a job to do, listen, this is very important. When spirits have a job to do, spirits don't worry about like optics too much. They do and then they don't. It is important to do it a certain way, but it's like if you tell, I look at spirits almost like computer programs. I know that it's from spirit that the knowledge to create computer programs came, because they operate like computer programs to me. It's like you give them a request, and then it's almost like they just calculate what is the fastest way to get this done. And then the fastest way or the most efficient way or whatever is not necessarily the cleanest way. And we can see evidence of that in our life all the time. You pray to spirit, can I do this? The way spirit delivers it, it's like, can I have this position? You know, somebody might have to pass away for you to get that position. You don't know. Somebody might have to, maybe it was always their time to pass away, who knows? But maybe it's the person who passed away in Japan, who it was always their time to pass away, and spirit has to get into Japan because it's just the easiest thing to do. Especially if you put a time limit on them. You put a time limit on them, you just expect some crazy stuff because you put a time limit on it. It has to get done. That's how we have to look at it, like spirit. Like, it's not messy. These people are not making it clean. This thing has been so embarrassing for everybody here. These people have put shame to the side and optics to the side a long time ago. It has been messy. They have embarrassed themselves. It is so out of control. This is where you look at things. This is where you assess different things, and you say to yourself, like, what is more important for me to do? What do I need to get done here? They don't care about shit. They need to stay alive. That's how they see it. They need to produce results in a hopeless situation, a situation that gets worse, if you ask me. But for us who are here, we need to be able to continue to master ourselves. And it has been very encouraging, I will say, when we talk about situations of, like, in the sense of, like, well, what does this person do, and what did that person do, and of course what they're doing is not right. But I'm just shifting focus a little bit to look over at us and look at what we can do to help our situation. And I always talk about it from the perspective of, like, what can you do to get through this? So this has been a long, like, time of just, being resilient and being disciplined and being all that. But that stuff requires a lot of energy. So as we draw to the close of this situation, it is absolutely the close of this situation. You definitely have to get to a point where you have to say, I gotta master myself. I gotta take care of things that need taking care of. I cannot afford to remain the same with the same behaviors that have oftentimes I've been able to get so far with them, but now I gotta really clean it up. And I think that goes for all of us here, as we have to tighten so much up. When these people cannot physically gang stalk you, they're all going to pile up on you in the spirit. And if they know that the chances of them spiritually fighting you is not going to be high, then they're just going to try to provoke you in spirit. And it's like the harassment is so like tonight, the harassment is so crazy that I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. Hell no, I'm not doing this. This is my life. This is literally your life. Imagine not being followed and still, like, acknowledging this. This is what the V2K is for. V2K is basically for when people cannot access your energy in your house. You're not coming outside, so they just come and camp out in your head, and this is very distracting. And if you entertain it, you fall into this loop, into this pattern with them. So this V2K thing here, this telepathy, this telepathic communication that you have with people that you don't want. You gotta hang up the phone. And you gotta learn to hang up the phone anytime you need to. And you gotta keep it hung up. You really have to focus on the present. So, hopefully you're a person that if you're not mentally disciplined, then you got to work on it. Every day you get an opportunity. Every time something occurs, you get an opportunity to do better. Every time something occurs, every time someone reaches out to you telepathically without your permission, you get to hang that phone up. Hang up on that call. You should not be walking around here with people you do not care for speaking into your subconscious, because that's what they're doing. Now, they're still going to be in the background, whether you can hear them or not. This is the thing that people who are not telepathic don't know. Whether you are aware of them or not, they're still speaking into your subconscious mind that you're not consciously aware of. This is where self-awareness comes in, because they will push and provoke things and situations that shouldn't be. Now, you'll look at a situation of, let's say, two people. There are two people in the room and they start arguing out of nowhere. And I've seen this has happened, where I've been around and people started getting upset and like literally just out of nowhere started snapping on each other. And I realized that that energy was sent in this space, probably to me, to be honest, considering the circumstance I was in. And because I resisted it, because I didn't even resist it, I was just vibrating too high for it. I was too calm. It instead went somewhere else, because I didn't have sage, I didn't physically clean or anything, but I just was not in the space where I cared. So you have to understand, like, in situations like that, it is artificial sometimes to always have your vibration extremely high, that high where nothing negative touches you. It's not always, because life happens. Even at my highest vibration, I feel myself slipping and I gotta go back. But that is a sacrifice to be at a vibration that high. You're gonna have to not address things that are in front of you, and some of these things need addressing. The way you address them is one thing and it's understood, but some of these things are genuinely upsetting. So this is reality, this is real life. When the stakes are high, when you're exhausted, when you've been fighting the same thing, and when you're dealing with an energy that is on purpose childish. Can be mature, but on purpose being this way in order to irritate you. So once you're dealing with these kind of situations, just please understand, like, it's not going to be, I don't want to frame it in a way where I make it sound like it's easy. You're resisting your own nature. You're breaking down yourself, and you have to rebuild yourself. Put yourself back together in a more formidable way. Stronger. More difficult to provoke. Person who stands firm. So on the surface, yes, you're being gang stalked. Under that, yes, you're here to learn. But really, what are you upset about? You're upset because mastering yourself hurts. That's the truth. A mastered person can sit in this fight and it not affect them. There are past lessons, if we went to, wouldn't affect me. They really pissed me off when they were happening at the time. But as soon as they stopped working, the attacks stopped coming, because what is the point? It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So that's why they have to bring in new attacks all the time. That is the point of what's happening. As soon as you can get over it, I'm not gonna lie, there's gonna be something new until we get out of the cycle. But God knows when it's enough. God stops it when you've learned. God stops it allows it to stop, I should say, when you've gotten to the point where it's not just sufficiently mastered. Like, God doesn't say you have sufficiently mastered this, we're gonna walk away. God's like, no, you need to be immune to it to the point where you're like, whatever, that's what they're doing. Like, you literally have to get to the point where as you see it happening, you're like, whatever, that's what's happening now. It is what it is. So they're not easy things to master. These are spiritual attacks that you're essentially becoming immune to. You're becoming immune to spiritual attacks. And believe me, while it is working, they will continue to pound down on you. They will continue to do whatever works. So you will have no choice. The stage is just set like this. You will continue to be triggered, irritated, and fought in the places where it hurts the most. There is no shame because people who are laughing at you cannot do this. People who are laughing at you cannot survive this kind of onslaught on a person's life all alone, because they're in groups. You are all alone. Most people see ghosts or people roaming their home and whatever. It wouldn't be a fun experience. Having multiple witches on you, it wouldn't be a fun experience. They know that. So they're just doing that in order to like break your focus off of what you're doing or make you feel like something's not working or whatever. No. People know that this is exhausting. They probably have to pre-plan attacks for when the last one doesn't work. It's like a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot on both sides. It is what it is because you just cannot afford to give up on this, on your life. Now, let me segue into why you're not supposed to give up. So, when I was going through this, I knew they were trying to take me out of business from very early. I'm talking about when the gang stalking went overt, because it has been covert gang stalking for a while. It's been rudeness and irritating behaviors at jobs. It's been just gang stalking behaviors. And now that I understand like spiritual warfare, it's definitely been spiritual warfare that maybe even the people doing it didn't realize that they were under the influence of a spiritual attack. But when it went overt, there were things that I knew and things that I noticed. And one of the biggest things that I noticed was when people were they took my business name and then they put up the Bible quotes and all of that, and you kind of look at it and you don't think much of it and you kind of brush it off and you kind of move on. And let me tell you, you come full circle and you understand this is what they were trying to steal all along because this was your journey. But the thing is, you had to go on the journey in order to get here. And so when you get to the end of the journey, and this is the end, and they can feel that, they can see that, as you draw into the end, the fight gets harder. So this is where they want to make you give up. This is when they want to weaken you. This is when they want to disconnect you from spirit, stop you from praying, stop you from meditating, stop from this, stop you from that. And spirit has already anticipated all of these things. And one thing I'll tell you about spirit, if spirit used to give you messages, let's say through dreams, and they start intercepting the dreams and stuff, spirit will not keep pushing that. Spirit will stop. If spirit used to do one thing and there's an attack in that area or something's happening, I mean, there are times where spirit says like, hold on, but most times spirit doesn't fight these people like the way that these people fight. And it's one of those things where I've had to like take note of it and say, you know what, I'm not gonna continue fighting it. If your meditations are being intercepted and you're only going to get bad messages there and they're going to manipulate you through the meditation, don't keep fighting it. Let it go. Not because you're giving up on the meditation, but you're going to readjust the way that you do things. It's like if they can't stop you from doing it, then they're going to manipulate you through it, and you've already had evidence of how they're doing. Don't bother. If they're going to let's say every day you cook at 6 and they have a port of entry directly into that at 6 and you can't close that door, don't fight it. You're wasting your energy. You're literally bleeding energy that you need. You got to get yourself back to the point where you make things easier for yourself. You got to get yourself to the point, listen, and it comes in all kinds of ways. There's ways, don't answer the damn phone. You know it's going to be some nonsense. Don't answer that text that was sent to trigger you. Leave the text alone. Don't respond to the email in the moment where it was sent to break your focus. Yes, it's important to answer, but just don't answer it right now. Take your time, prepare for it. Have your answer ready to just get out your answer and move on to the next thing. These are the kind of things that you need to put in place because you need to continue to block these people's access directly into you. And when these people start implementing what everybody calls V2K, this is a psychic attack. They're trying to access you psychically. And once you learn how to do that, keep implementing it, and just block it out. Just hang up the phone. Just don't involve in that. Don't get deep in that. Now, they know that some of the ways to get in is to anger you. And once they anger you, now your mental focus is weaker. And so maybe you have a good handle on it some parts of the day, and some parts of the day it's a little bit weaker. So when you smell these people in your energy, you're not just smelling them just because they're just there chilling out. They're chanting, they're cursing, they're praying dark prayers over you. Then all of a sudden you're angry. Then all of a sudden you're flying off of the handle. You've lost control for a little bit. So when you know this is how they get into you, and how do you get to know? By succumbing to the attack. So you've been able to close the door up until this point, but they can't get in. So how comes, 2 days in a row they've gotten in? Well, it's the anger. Okay, well, gotta deal with that now. Gotta deal with this, gotta deal with that. That's how you learn. That's how you get through it incrementally. If you continue to meditate on constantly, oh my God, well, I did this and I did that and that happened and it's only natural, where you're really pushing yourself to do something like, how comes I let this work? You're just taking away energy from what are the solutions I need to put in place. Because you gotta encourage yourself here. Spirit can encourage you, outside people can encourage you, but sometimes it's like you gotta do it yourself. You gotta do it yourself. You gotta bounce back from these kind of things that are gonna drain your energy. You have to be buoyant. You have to bounce back. I have a whole life that's called being buoyant. Just bouncing back. Thinking that you're not gonna fall is a waste of time. Don't even hold yourself to that standard. The best of us, we're talking about self-mastery here. We're not talking about putting on a show. We're not talking about getting scores. We're not talking about a medal. I don't like the word win. This person let you win. This person's gonna win. You're gonna lose. I very rarely use language like that. There's no such thing as win or lose. You're remastering yourself. You are not going to stay here. You need to remaster yourself, rework yourself to prepare yourself for where you're gonna go. So this is how you have to look at this situation. These people are not well. I'm telling you that. The longer you hear their voices, the more you realize that they're not well. Sometimes you hear them rambling, sometimes they don't make sense. Sometimes it's like Tourette's. They just kind of say any old thing and then they catch themselves. So people who are possessed cannot always hide it. They cannot hide it. Don't think that just because people present one way or they show focus in one way to do something, it doesn't mean that they're okay. They're not okay mentally. And I really do mean that. They're not okay. Like, I was thinking about it the first time I heard the first sign of like not being okay, one of them not being okay. And then I heard it again, and then the more I hear it now, I'm just like, I don't think this just started happening. I think this has been like that. So people who play these kind of games, they also have a price to pay with these situations, but also explains why they're able to do things like this. They're not okay. And it's not just one person I see that's not okay. It's a bunch of them I've ran into over the course of this thing, where I meet people who are demonically possessed. And I truly mean, I've explained this before. It's like having multiple personality disorder. It literally is. 1 minute, you see a scared person who's like fighting for their life, drowning in the back of themselves. And the other moment, they're in that devil energy. It's like they're just very determined, they're very focused, they're in fight mode, they're getting something done, they're in persecution mode. And then later on, you look at them and you're talking to them, and you're like, what are you doing? And they're like, yeah, you know what, you're right. I know what you mean. Okay, we gotta, it's like they're switching back and forth. I've met this energy a lot. So you have to really take it as like God's cleaning up a mess here. There's an infection here. There is an infection here. This energy infects. And what it's trying to do by pulling you into your lower nature is it's trying to infect you. It's trying to pull you away from God and it's trying to infect you. That's what's happening here. Me being able to admit, and I have to do that in order to heal this, and you gotta do it too if you've been in a battle like this long enough. Being able to admit where you're hurt and how you would want to react and then not reacting that way. Not doing it and acknowledging why. This is what saves you. This is what saves your soul. It's not a matter of judgment. It's not a matter. There's a reason why they hurt you so bad. And when they can't hurt you because they don't have energetic cords to you, they want to bring you into that lower nature. There's a reason why. It is because this is how they're going to gain entry into you. This is how they're going to access you. We got to be careful here. We are in demonic presence. We got to stay strapped close to God. We got to go and ask for forgiveness for God for what we didn't know. We got to stop the fighting. We got to pull ourselves away. Is it easy? Of course not. You're surrounded by demons, demonic energy. You got to find a way. This is the work. This is a very critical message, very important message for myself and for everyone else. You got to hold yourself back. Yes, you're going to be upset. Yes, you're going to be fighting yourself, but you got to hold yourself back and not get yourself to that point where people want to get you. Because they do want to get you there. And I mean, it's fight mode every day, all the time. This is an energetic battle. This is a spiritual battle. You got to stay close to God. They want to get you to the point where you give up so much. Not just that you give up on yourself, what you're working on, but you give up on God. Because you're like, God, why am I still in here? Listen, let me tell you, one of my things is, when I get myself to that point, not to the point of giving up, because I will never give up on myself, and I mean that. When you get yourself to the point where you're frustrated and you're tired, you're telling God, like, listen, I don't want to deal with this anymore. First things first, I've looked at myself and I've said, listen, it's not because of the fight, it's because there are things here that are hard for you to get a hold of. So you're going to have to go back, rework it, get a hold of those things, pull yourself back out of there. Second thing I say to myself is, let's talk about what God has done here. Because if I look at it from the perspective of like, this is a fight, it's been a fight for a while, it's always going to be a fight. But if I look at it from what has God done, what God has done is like, that is a really high list. I've literally gone over and over and over all the things God has done for me, and I've never gotten to the end of that list. And I know that there's so much I'm missing. If I had to sit down and write it all out, I would go through a notebook. Like, God has really had our back in this battle. Even to the point that people come up and give messages, even to the point that people come out and are able to, you're in all of the garbage that people have out there, there's still good messages that can still come out. Even that God still holds on to certain people to be able to get us to a certain point, even that. God is never not here. It's us who get disconnected. God is never not here. And let me tell you something. Even if you fell into devil energy, you get yourself out of devil energy. That's the fact. That's the truth. You get yourself out. Even if you fell into devil energy, you get yourself out. How? You pray. You choose new behaviors. You choose new thoughts, new ways of thinking, new ways of seeing things. You ask God for help. When I get angry and I realize that I'm losing energy. See, they want to program you to lose hope and lose motivation because they're scared. Because if you succeed, and you're right there. We're right there. If you succeed and you keep this thing and you succeed and everything is locked in and already in place, they lose everything. They know that. Not only have you gotten through, but you've gotten through with everything that you were promised, and you got through with God. You didn't get through in devil energy. We gotta rework things. Never ever lose hope on God. Always bounce back. Don't allow yourself even, you gotta keep, listen, when I get there, I don't ever stay there. I always walk myself back. I always walk myself back. I always shut it down. I always get myself back, regardless. And I do it through prayer. You talk to God. And you just tell God, look, I need your help. Don't let go of me. Hold on to me. Pull me back. Because it's the truth. You need God to pull you back sometimes. Pull me back. Don't give up on me. Even if you were to get to the point where you would get upset, don't give up on me. Now, the other thing too, you have to understand this is mental magic, and they're not doing it one at a time. It's a group of them, groups at a time of this nonsense that are praying in your energy, that are doing all of this stuff. If you have groups of people that are praying down on you groups at a time, it's going to be a harder challenge for you than when it was just one person at a time. So it's a new level of attack. I say all of this because I don't want anyone to beat down on themselves and think, I'm not doing too well with this. Nobody's doing too well at this, but the energies that we are meant to carry, coming here with this kind of energy is a difficult thing because these energies are attacked every day, day and night. This is what it comes with. So if you want to carry this energy, it's not like we wanted to, but we are to, we must learn every way of being attacked, and we must learn how to get over it. This is an initiation. You gotta get through this, and you gotta stay on God's side, no matter what. So coming to the end of this, they're no longer attacking in the same way. They're attacking hope, they're attacking motivation, they're attacking your drive to succeed. Now that you know this is what's under attack and you are aware, this is where you hold on. They're going to put doubt in certain things that God put for you. God said, you're going to be here with these people doing this thing. They're going to try to put doubt in the people. They're going to try to put doubt in this and doubt in that. We're not here for all of that. You got to stay focused in these last days because we are way closer than we realize. Way closer than we realize. We got to stay focused. We have to stay resolute. Whatever you got to do, this is a time to implement delusion. The whole time we were being realistic and all this and working hard and whatever, it's time to be delusionally happy. It's time to change the channel. It's time to be focused. You have moments of being focused, then you're going to have moments of being happy, you're going to have moments of being determined, you're going to have moments of it is a fight on you to get what is yours from you. I want to talk about what these people are fighting for, so put it into perspective. It's not metaphorical. They're really fighting for businesses that we have, or ideas, or talents, or places that we're supposed to go in the world that literally translates to actual money. A lot of it. I saw it before. They held a thing in a marketplace in my store, and I saw the business that they targeted. Nobody else was there to make money. They didn't care about people coming to make money. They only cared about that one person, and they got on their phone, called friends and friends of friends to come in there and spend money, but only that on that one person, to groom that person. And I never saw her after that. Her Instagram was never updated again. And I went through the Instagrams of a whole bunch of people who came into contact with me, and their Instagrams have never been updated again. It ended in that summer, or it ended at that time that I spoke to them. They're going to go now. They're going to go now, and they're going to go tell these people, hurry up and update, and they're going to do something. They always try to make me a liar, but the truth's the truth. Whatever date those people came around me, they got gang stalked soon after. And they took whatever business that they had. So this is what they want. They want you to stop working. Stop being yourself. Yourself is a kind person, a loving person, a good person. They want you to be dark and dirty so that the demon can infect you. so that these lower energies can infect you. You got to raise the vibration back. So these energies that are coming after you are not able to touch you. They are not able to reach you. You got to raise the vibration. This is what they've been systematically breaking down. But we've survived all of this time. This is a perfect time to raise it. It's not like you got to raise it and you have 5 years left. You're raising it at the end. Delusional in any way, shape, or form, you got to do it. I'm not saying to go drink. I'm not saying to go do drugs or anything like that, but whatever way you have to motivate yourself, put aside pride and ego. There's bigger things at stake. For me, when I have to re-raise my vibration, I will put on meditation, I'll put on music, I'll put on something else to keep that vibration where it needs to be. And I acknowledge times where I don't keep it where it's supposed to be. And this is the message tonight. We gotta get delusional from today onwards. It is what it is. The self-control gets easier, the patience gets easier, the endurance gets easier when you can keep your vibration high. Otherwise, they get too close. They get a bit too close. And this is what they're trying to do, and they try to break your focus. They try to almost like, I want to say like hack into your head, and all this muttering and all this noise, you should be focusing and really looking at what you're supposed to do. Now, had you had friendships, they would have talked you out of your dream. They would have talked you out of your focus. They would have talked you out of, you wouldn't have had time to hear God. They would have been beating down on oh, that's ugly and that's no good and that's ridiculous and whatever. They would be beating down on everything that is meant for you to have. So you have to remain focused. These people, long before, years before you knew it, they looked into your life, they read into your energy, and they didn't just see a little money, saw a lot of money. They saw love and happiness. They saw family, very happy family. They saw a beautiful environment. They saw a perfect life. They saw perfection. That is why they are so persistent in this thing. But it is on us to keep going, to never give up, because we're not just giving up on God and what God wants for us. We're robbing God of the opportunity to clean up this mess. We would be giving them way too much to move forward with. Whatever strength they had before, they would be even stronger. We are in a position where we cannot allow these energies to take us out of the position that we're in. We have been entrusted with something so important, so valuable, and there is all the protection we need, and all we need to do is re-energize and refocus. Refocus. There's no time to think, could it happen? Could it be? I've been here so long, calculate the time. No. Focus. Focus. Get your head back in the game. Get delusional anyway. Pray all day. Anything. Now, when you hear the music in your head, they're not going to use, they know now, well, I'm speaking for me, they know now, or they should know, you're going to use like worldly music and sexual music. I don't want to hear that. I don't care about that. I'm going to tune that off immediately. But where they used to get me was with gospel music, or music that I aligned with spirit, or a message from spirit, or encouragement from spirit. And so now that's the music that they play. So now it's like gospel music and things like that, and religious and spiritual songs, because I listen to a lot of that all the time. So you must understand, when you start hearing music in your, even if you like it, childhood music, whatever, you gotta block it out, switch the channel. You focus on anything, the music in the background, the cars driving by, the fridge humming, anything. Get back into your now reality. Change the channel. Tune into something new. And when you have negative thoughts, sometimes we let it play out too long. I'm trying to get it to the point I don't even want it to play out an hour anymore. I don't, okay, let me take away its momentum, let me put it back, let me go to something else. Bring my brain to something else. Think of something else. If you can get yourself to laugh at something, even if it's something silly, then you're beginning to raise that vibration again. You can come back so spirit can reach you. The lower the vibration, the closer you are to that energy. Let me tell you, these messages are not my messages. These messages are messages from spirit. People would have no idea that I too learn from these things. As I'm saying it, I too learn from it. So we have to, when these people try to block prayers, they try to block meditation, they try to block so much stuff. Sometimes spirit, not sometimes, spirit is inside of you, moving inside of you, and they're going to get things done. But if you completely give up, let me give you an example. If you have to catch a bus and the bus, I don't know, something happened, you fell, and somebody put something in your way to fall, to miss the bus, if you can get up and continue running and shout at the bus and bang on the side of the bus, and the bus stops, not at the bus stop, but in the middle of the road, long enough to ask you what the heck your problem is, and you're begging, you get on the bus. Yes, in your mind you'll say, I just made it. But you made it because you kept running. And you made it because you didn't care if it was messy, you didn't care if you fell, you didn't care if you heard somebody laugh, you didn't care. You just banged on the bus, you tried your luck, you pushed it, you kept going, you got on the bus, and now you could get to your destination on time. If you let the embarrassment of falling, the person who is laughing, get into your head, you're too ashamed to run and bang on the side of the bus and do all, if you let all of that get to you, you didn't run. Spirit can work with you being embarrassed. Spirit can work with people laughing at you. Spirit can work with you being messy and running to on the side of the bus and banging, and people looking across the street and they're like, oh my God, look at that person. Spirit can handle all of those things, that messiness. But if you don't run, if you don't keep moving, if you don't give it a shot, leave here and go where? Where are you going to do? You're going to stagnate here, of all places, here? We got to go. We gotta get out of here. We're almost here. If you have lost hope, please rebuild it. Listen to meditations, listen to music. Think about times where in your life where you were depressed, where you were stressed, where things were hard. Without the outside forces and voices, that was still spiritual attack. Now the spirits are inside of people, and so you associate the people, the spirit with the people, but it's a spiritual attack meant to block you from your path, block you from getting to just the seat that you're in right now, at the very cusp of a whole new world. That's what a North Node is, the new world. Get the rewards for the fight that's been put in, or all this fight goes to waste. All of this holding on goes to waste. Of course it's tough, but if I come and I continue, like, I've never really been a person who's helped people mellow in feeling defeated, because that's not my way. But you're not alone. The fight is on everybody. We all have to continue to hold on to the very end. I tell Spirit, like, listen, I want it to happen today, but if it doesn't happen today and you happen to tell me in a year, then you know I'll still hold on. You know that I will. And I will. I will. It doesn't matter. You gotta hold on. Do you get tired in a fight? I've been tired so many times in this journey I've been doing. And there have been times, at least I have strength in my body. There have been times I've been physically and mentally exhausted. And I wouldn't say hopeless, but definitely like not exactly hopeful, knowing that a fight is coming, because the fight was stronger back then. They had more people, they had more money, they had more energy, they were hopeful. It was very much appearing that they were winning at that time. And I held through. If we've held through the toughest of times, we cannot allow ourselves now. Whatever it takes to rejuvenate yourself, whatever it takes, get back up. Put yourself in a positive mood. Get yourself together and do every day. And this is where that prayer comes in. When I pray, I say to myself, when we pray, we say another day. Give God another day every day. Give God another day every day. The worst part about me having to come on here is that I give people ideas through my encouraging of others. They congregate here, taking ideas on how to attack me. It's not fun. This is the life. It is what it is. And like I've said to another person, you just get used to it. You get used to waking up and knowing that you're going to have an attack, that the attack is coming. But you set your focus on where you need to set your focus on, the things that need to be done. And you power through, you pray through, you mellow your way through, you breathe through, whatever it is, however you gotta get through it, you get the job done every day. Every day, another day. Every day, give God another day. You pray more. They hate those prayers. They'll send work at the altar during prayer to break up prayer. I get up and I clean it while I pray. It doesn't matter. You pray more passionately. People are like, wait, we sent that devil energy. Why are they still praying? Because in God we trust. We're going to continue praying. We're going to break off everything that's off of it on us. And we ask God to not just break it off of us, not just make us aware, but ask God specifically for the things that you need. Specifically, very specific. Ask God if you need energy broken off, if you need patience, if you need to walk stronger in faith, whatever it is that you need. You got to be very specific about these prayers. Ask God specifically, because God comes through. God doesn't answer every prayer, but the positive prayers God answers, and we are all guilty, of not necessarily. I have not always necessarily wanted the best for everybody. I've been shocked at myself trying to help people that have been trying to tear me down, that have been trying to kill me, very literally. But everybody has their moments. I want to say, I don't think we have to be perfect all the time. That's not what the middle path is for. There are energies here that need to be eradicated. They need to be gone. It's the truth. Like, this cannot persist. People cannot continue to go through this. I tell God this all this. This is bad. What I have endured with God, and I think, look at all the people here who had nothing to help. So you have to be specific with these prayers and say, listen, this energy should not be here. This is not right. Because it's not. This is not right. Honestly, you got to be possessed to do this kind of work. And that's what they do. They get people, they possess people, and they pull people in a lower nature, frustrate people so bad, get them possessed, get them fighting spiritually, energetically, infect them, and before you know it, you're in that devil energy and you're helping those people over there. And I've seen people that they've taken down, unfortunately, and I don't know what to say about it. But this is something that God would, this is God's thing, not mine. So these people have entered your energy. They've entered your Akashic records, I guess. They've seen the future that you're supposed to have. They have hacked your soul contracts, all of them. That's why we have to relinquish all these soul contracts, get rid of everything from the past. They have hacked your love life and things that are meant for you, tried to block your love life. And so to them, it is worth it. It is very worth it, especially when you start manifesting in their face. They consider that it's very worth it for them to put on this attack no matter what they go through. People are in devil energy. They're not thinking straight. They might think they're in control, but they're not. Only when the reality starts setting in. Reality starts setting in when the consequences come down. And I can tell you, having been in proximity to these people, maybe they don't see the devil energy around them, but it's like it's impossible not to see it. The energies that are on them leave them every once in a while, and they fight. If anybody ever tries to, doesn't matter what illusions were casted here, there is an energy here. It doesn't matter what illusions people want to cast. Oh, we did this, we played this mind game. No, there is an energy here, and this energy here is very serious about taking the souls. This energy is specific. The energy doesn't care what happens. And I tried to explain that the entire time. And I don't think it's like, for a glimmer, a little piece, you might get somebody's mind where they think about it. All of them. Not just one or two. I'm telling you, all of them, you get them for a glimmer, for a little space of time where they consider, and the energy takes back over again because it cannot afford. For a space of time, the part of them that is scared, the part of them that rationally sees what's happening here, the part of them, it's like a disassociation where they almost disassociate from that devil energy, and they're standing back and they're saying, wait, what is happening here? This has never happened before. Why is this happening? Like, how is this? What am I doing? and then they fall right back into it. And let me tell you, that devil energy comes at night. The same way that witches work at night, the devil energy comes at night. Because you can have somebody in the day and have them convinced, and that devil energy comes back at night. And by the time you wake up in the morning, they're back. They're back full force. And I'm telling you, this situation, I could speak on my situation, but I'm sure other situations are the same because the collective messages read the same. The situations are a nightmare beyond a nightmare. People that had access to certain things do not have it. Lives are falling apart. I mean, this is energy backfire. On the surface, they can blame you. On the surface, they can say you, but below it, they know. Below it, they can see, like, holy crap, all of the, how do I reverse this? How do I clean this? Behind all of this, they're looking for a cleaning. They're looking for cleansing. It is not good. So you must understand, their energies at work here. We could fight. Everybody here can continue fighting. But behind all of this, it's energies that have been opened up, things that have been opened up that are now completely out of control, because it is in control. These entities are in control. Man, people can't even control what they're saying. People can't even control their mood, their vibration. And when I got close, this is why I was trying to help. Not because I'm stupid, not because of it, because I see it. I see the energy, I see the person, I see the fear. And I meet them all the time. And I've talked about this before. When you meet people and it's like behind their face, you see the entity behind their face. That same little cute looking entity, I laugh, oh, it looks so cute. No, it's a very old energy. It has infected a group of people here. It has run wild in a group of people here. Maybe initially the energy, maybe one person took it on, but this energy is racing through a group of people here. And it drains everything. It drains the light. And if a person really sits back, they know that they're having anxiety. They know that they're not okay. They know that their mind, it's moving in and out, like they're having control, staying in control, it's taking effort. They know that this is happening. I won't bother anymore telling people what to do, because I don't know what their situation is. I don't know what it's like. I don't know. I'm not going to say anything to anyone. I'm just going to say it's not good. That's the truth. You can say all day that people cursed you, but people found you in this devil energy. Like, people found you with this thing behind your face. I've met too many people who have that same energy on them everywhere. It needs cleaning. And I used to talk about weeks ago in August, when it was a joke, they were just more focused on winning something. This is a distraction. We all here are facing distractions. Gotta get focused. Now, it's not for me to tell anyone what to clean off of them. I think in the beginning people were happy about whatever energy they were in. I think now it's dawning that it's scary and it needs to be done. The distraction is to blame another person and say this person did it, that person did it. Okay, even if that person did it, how are you going to deal with it? For me, I sit here and I say, this person knocked me out of my life and that person did that. But okay, what am I going to do about it? I can't sit here, wake up every day and go fight somebody else. I got to focus on me. I got to focus on what I'm doing. You don't just get a new beginning. You got to focus on yourself. This is what we're here doing. And when I was younger, there was this thing that old people used to say when they used to say, you're letting such and such distract you and fool you, because while you're running after them, they're focusing on their studies, or they're focusing on themselves, or they're improving themselves. And the thing has always been, where's your attention going? And if you're spending so much time watching somebody else build something and put something together and you're not focusing on yourself, it's like, look, there's no way not to look back at it when it completely comes to an end and not think, what was I in a fog? What was I thinking about? And I understand that there's circumstances, people have tied themselves to a circumstance here. Like, there have been people paid, they owe people, they, like, this has happened, they've casted this spell and that spell. And to me, from what I saw, the spells that were being casted got complicated. They were like intersecting each other. Work was working against each other. Like, work was neutralizing itself. Like, they would send somebody to you for the person to convince you and be friends and recruit you. But at the same time, they put an energy on you where people just fight with you for no reason. So the person who's coming to recruit you starts fighting you, and the recruitment doesn't work. No matter how many people come to recruit you, they start getting mad and arguing with you for no reason. And then they catch themselves. They're like, oh crap, I was here to recruit this person. And then it just doesn't work. It like works against itself. But as much as we trust Spirit and as much as Spirit comes through, Spirit needs us to run for the bus too. Spirit can make the bus stop. Spirit can help us to get the bus to stop. But we gotta also be ready to beside the bus. This is a lot to give up. And you would only know it when you see people living a multi-millionaire lifestyle. Whether in the dark or the light, because they would take it in the dark. Then you would be like, holy crap, that should have been me. But I gave up. But I didn't want to do the work. But I didn't want to master myself. But it's worth it. Is it hard? Yes. But is it worth it? Yes. So I have to tell you, the way they're talking, you have, let's say, I know there's this one girl, there's multiple people I've met, they're supposed to be rappers, they're going to be successful, multi-millionaires. But the fight on their life is crazy. Why is the fight on their life crazy? Multi-millionaires. You don't think that's worth a destiny swap? Yeah, it's a lot of money. You gotta be willing to hold on to your, by any means, okay? But we gotta change the means, and I gotta stop fighting. I know that much. Has it been difficult? Yes. I've been stuck in a cycle because of the way that they've been coming at me. But awareness is half the battle. And once you're aware of what it is that you are trying to hold on to, and it's in the last couple of days that I've seen it for myself. Oh my God, they literally were trying to steal everything. Business, relationships, children. God has held these things in place, but it takes, again, us running beside the bus. So it's worth it for them. They don't care if they, for that kind of money, these are not like people who have grown up around that or seen that or had access to that. So for that, it's like a witch working their whole life to get to that point. They're gonna want to get to that point by any means necessary. They're gonna come back to the drawing board. So we have to look at it as every time they go to the drawing board, it's for a new level, a new phase of learning something new, to get ready to carry the blessings. Because blessings take strength too. If somebody gives you, 10 kilos of 50 kilos of blessings, it's going to take endurance. You're not going to want it. You're going to be on the side of the road 2 hours later, breathing hard, holding on to that. Because you're like, look, it's heavy, but I got to carry it. Because you got to get your endurance up for that. For me, it has been 2 years of hardship. There is no way I'm giving up in the final. I don't know what delusion. For me personally, like they said in the Bible, as for me and my house, yeah, we're gonna keep going because I'm gonna need everything that is mine. I need every drop. A little bit spills, I'm just to get my shirt, wipe it up. That's mine. Thank you. We're gonna need it. You're being groomed for success and to carry blessings, essentially. Just gotta stay in it. And at this moment, like I said, Spirit does things and they just need to get it done. Sometimes it's not the greatest. I can tell you, nothing spoke volumes to me. Spirit had a concern here. And Spirit got this done. It was messy. And I was so embarrassed half the way through. And Spirit didn't stop me because it needed to be done. Spirit didn't say whatever it was that needed to get done. Spirit did not block it. Spirit did not stop it. Spirit was like, no, you're going to hold on to this. Spirit's not going to let you let go of this anyway. They're going to get the message to you one way or the other way. They're going to rattle you. Don't worry about downloads. Don't worry about being intuitive. Don't worry about psychic abilities. Because let me tell you, Before you knew who spirit was, before you knew what spell work was, before you knew what any of this was, did God not get you through? God lives inside of you. And it wasn't something that you had to go. I thought to myself, well, I had to invite spirit in. No, spirit's always been here, actually. I just go through periods where I'm like, wait, spirit made me do that. Wait, this happened and that happened. They've been with you for so long. Why do you think today that spirit's going to disconnect from you? When I was calling myself an atheist, I wasn't praying, I wasn't doing any of the above. God was guiding my path and directing my path to me getting where I needed to go. People thinking that they're going to separate you from God is a lunacy. God is not going to allow that to happen. Even though the fight on you is crazy, God says, I will carry your lifeless body if I have to. God will carry us across the threshold, okay? Exhausted. So don't worry about, I just think back to days I didn't know God. I think back to, not that I didn't know who my God was. I didn't know she was her. I didn't even know she was a she. I thought God was only he. I didn't know so much. And they still got me through things flawlessly and took care of me. Only when I got out of the entire battle, I was like, wait a minute. How did that happen? And they take care of you. And I remember somebody said, remember the last battle that you went through? Remember that you got paid for that? Remember you got taken care of for that? Remember what you got out of that? I went through a battle and God lifted me up before even before I would have anticipated reaching that level in life. I'll say that much. So your path is your path, and you have spirits here to get you there, and we have very powerful energies here to get us here. They're gonna move mountains. Like, maybe we might lose focus. Spirit does not lose focus. Spirit does not lose sight. Spirit does not. Spirit is, you have to go back and disassociate with this voice that pretended to, this is not spirit. Spirit does not operate like that. This is not spirit. So spirit doesn't need your help to figure things out, none of the above. Spirit doesn't even need to tell you what is going on. Spirit does not even need to tell you what is the point of telling you the plan? It's like telling a kid a plan. What am I telling this kid the plan for? We're gonna go through with the plan one way or the other. We're gonna get there. So you gotta look at it like that. One way or the other, you're gonna get there, but you gotta get up and run for this bus. You cannot just let yourself fall in the mud puddle and stay on the floor. You got up early, you got your clothes on, you went through all the frustration, you barely combed your hair, you barely buttoned up your thing properly to get outside. You started running, you fell in the puddle, and you're gonna stay in that puddle. You did all of this, you get on the bus, you wipe your face, you fix your jacket, you brush your hair, and you get there as if you woke up way on time. That's it. They know that you falling in the puddle was on the way because they understand you and they know you before you were you. So they understand what your unique challenges are. Work on yourself, maintain or get your self-control, give up perfection and thinking that I knew I wasn't supposed to do this and I fell into it. That's the path of growth. Just make sure you don't stay there, don't align with that energy. I'm telling you, I know a lot of people do not care, but there are people who can get infected with an energy and clean it off and come out of it by unaligning with that energy. But it's them who has to want to do it. It's them who has to be able to put the fight up to do it. But it can be done if people wanted to do it. I strongly believe that. I do. Not everybody. The healing is gonna take the breath out of your body. I'm telling you, you could be a great person and start healing from things you didn't even do to yourself. You could be an exemptional person and start having to heal, and it will still be tough, might I say. It will still be hard because the healing requires the forgiveness, it requires understanding people. I just went through a period of healing And I'm just like, oh my gosh, very tough. And you have to continue healing in this thing. So don't think the healing is a one-time thing. You forgive something, and healing, you gotta stop yourself from going into certain things, into certain thoughts, because then they build a pattern. You gotta reel yourself back all the time. This healing thing has been tough. Forgiveness, tough. Everything, tough. Release, tough. But I had to go through what I went through by even getting close to these people and having these people energetically in my space. I had to go through just even that to be able to release this thing, because it was getting bad. The frustration was getting overboard. I had to go through that just to be able to see from, I hate to say it, but from another person's perspective, what was going on. And I'm not saying I understand any of this, but I'm saying I truly, even regardless of on my worst day, I've never been able to say anybody deserved that, even on my worst day. I think it's horrible that they use it to manipulate people, because it kind of looks like they don't care, but it shouldn't have happened. It is what it is. It just shouldn't have, shouldn't have occurred. It's craziness to me. So that being the case, let's try to hold it together till the end. I say that to everybody, but I say it to myself a lot. Gotta hold it together. Do not stop your prayers. I pray loud now. I don't bother praying in my language and hiding it doesn't matter. I pray loud. I pray to God. I throw my prayers up and I tell God, like, this is what I need. Continue your prayers. Try to keep your loving personality, return to slowly but surely to who you were, and do it in whatever way that you can. And it's time to implement healing words, and it's time to say things like, I forgive you, even though you don't in the beginning. I know. Hey, I know. I had to walk myself back from hating someone. Honesty, just honestly hating someone, the things that have been done to me, it's like, I don't even want to think about some of them. But you gotta walk yourself back with healing words and say you forgive, and getting to a place of forgiveness, and then going from forgiveness, from maybe not meaning it, to getting to a place of meaning it. You gotta get you don't have to get yourself there. It happens naturally as you repeat it. And you gotta say to yourself, you forgive yourself for the times where you haven't done your best. Doesn't matter if it was understandable or not. If you just weren't trying hard enough, whatever it was, but you gotta get yourself back there. You gotta get yourself back to a peaceful place in the middle of the chaos, because we can handle the chaos. We have been. Clean up your space and get back to peace. You gotta block out energies. You gotta stay away from them. You gotta protect yourself from being affected by energies that are very low vibing. You gotta do your best. They are talking into your consciousness all day, so you have to be consciously aware of your behavior. And all of this does sound delusional because it starts that way. It feels that way in the beginning. Like, you have people that frustrate you. You have to be conscious about not meeting them in their energy of fighting. They want to fight. You got to be conscious of not meeting them there, because they're provoking you, or they're going to use people in situations to provoke you. Things that just, are unnecessary, but we've come far enough to know that they're bullying people or sending people spirits, or, infecting people with spirits, and so people change. We have to accept that they're gang stalking the people in our past. People in our past are now being followed everywhere. People in our past are going through spiritual persecution. People in our past are going through horrible things. And you can't feel guilty about that, because you're going through the same thing. But, if we have gotten this far, we've made it through. We have made it through some very crazy things. And let me tell you, at this 11th hour, no matter how much Spirit has said what is going to happen, these people will still take very crazy risks. Hack into your system and do all kinds of things. Hack into your phones. Hack into your accounts. Do all kinds of things. at this late stage, if that is not a sign of demonic possession, I don't know what is. It's so risky and it's so shouldn't be done. Should not be done. At this point, I definitely feel like because it has become such a habit, it's a lifestyle now. For them, it's a lifestyle of attacking you. It's what they wake up to do. It's what gives them purpose every day. So you have to just ignore this stuff. It is literally, Spirit has just put in my heart, it's time to manifest. I used to feel like I don't want to manifest because I don't want them to hear it, because it's like every time they hear a prayer, they're going to pray against it. Every time they know you have an intention, they're going to, but you know what? Spirit has proven that they have it under control. They have it under control. So what can we do? They want us to get back in positive spirits. They want us to manifest. They want us to have hope. And you know, some of the times it's like there are messages that I want to receive, and sometimes it's not even worth listening to the message. I used to sit and listen to tarot all day from morning to night and get so frustrated. And now I have a limit with tarot where I'm like, okay, that's enough. I don't really want to do this anymore. Even if I do listen to it, it's like I'm not invested in the same way that I was before. So when you experience growth, you experience growth. We got to get back to where this all started, as far as with the lessons that you have, but as far as getting back to being a good person. And thankfully, you know, you have a fight on your life that's not going to stop, so you know that. But at least you know how to handle it for the most part. And the parts that you cannot handle, you got to release and let it be. You got to let this be part of your lifestyle that you're used to, and you got to get back to being a good person that can be close to God, because God knows your heart and your intention. God knows why it happened. God knows why it happened to everybody. It didn't just happen to us. This has happened to everybody. We've just been maintaining our goodness for so long. So you got to get back there. God has put everything in our path to succeed. Things that we could have walked through alone, God put people on the internet so that you don't have to feel alone, so you know that you're walking with somebody, so that you know there's another energy here that is going through the same thing, that is giving advice. God is sending messages. Yeah, you're going to want to be evil. Yeah, you're going to want to fall into fighting. Yeah, you're going to want to fall into hatred. You're not alone. Everybody here that's gone through this, the minute you realize your spiritual power, you just want to fall completely into fighting all the time. Gotta release it. You know how strong you are. They know how strong you are. You've proven a lesson. Gotta let go. Get back vibing high, so spell work cannot work. When you the higher you vibe, the closer you are to spirit. It doesn't even touch you. They won't understand why nothing is working. Gotta get back to it. God is doing God's work. God is doing God's work. You might think that from the way you see it, we might think, oh my gosh, is God losing? Or is like, sometimes you're like, why is it taking so long to decide? Because it has to be protected. Imagine getting success while these people are strong and have money and have connections. Oh my gosh, will they take it from you? They gotta, spirit has to wait a certain time. So spirit said it's guaranteed. It is ours. It is for us. We just gotta run for the bus. Just gotta get up, and it's like putting one foot in front of the other foot in front of the other foot. I know it is hard. Never fight again. Never entertain again. Never engage with these energies again. Never. Hold on to your God to block out all of this negativity. Whatever they do will not matter as long as you remain in a high vibration. Bring yourself back to the peaceful, loving, beautiful person you are. So part of a destiny swap, if they could get you in that dark energy, they can take on the cloak of your light energy. Even though they're not light inside, they can cloak in that energy, appear in the world as such a beautiful, kind, soft person, and then they can take that blessing away from you, because that blessing would need that cloak to go with it. They already have the cloak. So you got to stay in your high vibration. And spirit brings the messages when the messages are meant to be had. I wasn't even going to come tonight. 3 times I told myself, it's already too late, I'm not going to bother. And 3 times myself said, no, we're going to just go on and we're going to give a word. And then I said, oh, I don't have anything really prepared. And like, we're going to go on and give a word. Because, Spirit just needs me to get going so Spirit can say what. And I think I've gotten the word for myself. And if I'm the audience that I was supposed to reach, then amen, thank you, God, because I need to hear that, because I was falling in dark energy for sure. It's tough. It's hard. Doesn't matter. It's hard to have a daily fight, an hourly, minute fight every day for years. It's gonna, I'm proud of myself for lasting as long as I did. That's crazy because most people fall very quickly. Very quickly. The frustration comes in very quickly. And I've seen people that it ended in suicide. I've seen people that it ended in, and they don't care. They feel nothing. So don't even worry about that. It's time to block all of that out of our consciousness. And I might be late, but I know I'm just on time. That's my thing. I'm always just on time. I wish I could have been earlier, but if I was earlier, they would have probably devised more ways to break me down. They would have gone lower and lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. If I don't bother for a long time now giving examples of how low they go because I don't want to engage in it. So my advice moving forward, you want to listen to things like positive meditations, positive music, positive sounds. We want to listen to motivational stuff that has to do with positivity, that has to do with hope, that has to do with vibration. We want to learn new things. We want to stay out of nonsense, stay away from arguing, and really focus and commit as we're moving forward to be in the best vibration that we can afford. So this is my message tonight. I think anybody that has listened to this, I don't have a very active platform right now, but I know eventually it will get there. Because I think Spirit doesn't make me give these messages for no reason. So thank you very much. Have a great evening, and remember that God loves you. Good night.